buy my book doesn't work anymore. People just pass those posts. They don't even want to stop. Now, if you give your this potential reader something to actually read on your promo, so you've got a beautiful graphic and then you've got a little excerpt from your book. Number one, they'll see that you can write. Number two, they'll see your style of writing and decide whether or not they're going to buy your book.
Hi friends, this is Read and Write with Natasha podcast. My name is Natasha Tynes and I'm an author and a journalist. In this channel, I talk about the writing life, review books, and interview authors. Hope you enjoy the journey. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Read and Write with Natasha. Today I'm very happy to have with me Karina Kantas, who's a best-selling author of over 14 titles covering most fiction genre, including thrillers and young adult fiction. Karina is also a filmmaker and she won numerous awards. She's also a booktuber, podcaster, and a radio host, and she runs a company called the Author Assist, and where she helps independent authors with promoting and marketing their books. So this is exciting. Karina, welcome, and thank you for joining us. I'm so glad to have you here.
So glad to be here. Thank you for having me, Natasha.
Of course. So Karina, looking at your bio, it's very impressive, and there's a lot of things I wanted to ask you about. But I'd like to start with your business, which is the Author Assistant business. So my understanding is you help published authors market their book. And as we know these days, most of the bulk of the marketing is falling on the authors themselves, as many publishers, kind of reducing their marketing budget. So with that, what are the top tips that you would give to published authors to market their published work?
Well, the first thing I'll tell them is not to publish their manuscript until it's ready, which means proper editing from a proper editor, a fantastic cover from a proper cover designer, and formatted correctly. All those three cost a lot of money. So unless the person's got the money to do it correctly, don't publish a book unless it is polished, because it's not fair on you. With all the time you've taken to write that book, you're not doing a fair thing to the book or to you to publish it when it's not ready. When it is ready and it's out there, then the hard work starts. The writing's the easy part. The marketing is the hardest part. When you said that now that presses can't afford to help authors with marketing, it's actually always been this way. Authors, even with the big five, have to do their own marketing. To get your foot in the door of a big publisher, you have to have a set social media presence of thousands on Twitter, thousands on Facebook. And say your manuscript is on the table and it's a fantasy young adult, and another manuscript's on the table, fantasy adult. They're both brilliant books. They can't make up their mind. They're going to look at your social media presence online. And the one with the biggest social media presence will get the contract. Unfortunately, that's how it works nowadays. It's so having a social media presence is the number one tip I would give to all authors, is to stick to two platforms so you don't overwhelm yourself, because there's so much going on nowadays. So stick to two platforms: Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, whichever two you think can work better for you. Set up a page, set up an account, start posting, start getting followers, even before you've even started to publish your book. Even while you're still writing it, you need to start getting followers ready. Get them excited about this book. Know that your people are out there ready to buy that book when it is published. Marketing is all about getting ready to do the promotion of your book. So marketing is coming onto podcasts and radio stations and talking about your work and about your book, to get blog tours lined up ready for when your book comes out. So it's going to be on maybe 100 different blogs. Then the bloggers will hopefully review the book as well. These are blog tours. There's quite a few around. Some of them, you don't know what sort of numbers the blogger has. So, you're not sure roughly how much your work's going to be seen. But it's one of those things that you have to take the risk at. You could ask them, what's your numbers, and they'll tell you, or they won't. So blog tours and digital marketing, which is what we're doing now. The world now is open. Well, the world has always been open to us authors. The problem is, before the pandemic, before COVID hit and all the cons closed, authors were selling their books face to face, and that is the number one way of doing it. It's face to face with a reader. And so they were selling all their books through these cons. And when the cons closed, everyone was going, what do I do now? They'd never used social media. They'd never used digital marketing. And I've only ever used that. I've never been in a situation where I can go to a convention or do a live reading or do a live signing. I'm stuck in a little Greek village on an island somewhere. So my marketing for my books has always been online. So I was then showing all these authors, this is what you need to do. This is how you do it now. You've got to be careful with Facebook jail. You've got to be careful with where you post on Facebook and how many times. But you need to get your work out there. And buy my book doesn't work anymore. People just pass those posts. They don't even want to stop. Now, if you give your this potential reader something to actually read on your promo, so you've got a beautiful graphic, and then you've got a little excerpt from your book. Number one, they'll see that you can write. Number two, they'll see your style of writing and decide whether or not they're going to buy your book. Then you've got book trailers, which is like a film of your book. It comes alive. It tells a story. It shows the characters. It shows the action. And that sells books. And at the moment with TikTok, Instagram and Facebook, they're all loving videos. So the more videos you post on your social media, the more chance you have of other people seeing it. Whereas Facebook block so many posts now, unless you pay for boosts. You could have 3,000 fans on your Facebook page. You do a post, but only 23 see it. You've got to, there's ways of getting around it, but there's Facebook is putting a lot of pressure on the authors, and there are so many other platforms out there to try and see if it will work for you. You don't know till you try, and once you decide on which platforms you're going to work on, you do need to work on them. You need to talk with people. You need them to come back and communicate with you, not just putting posts up all the time. If they're not communicating with you, there's no establishment. And so you haven't got a very good chance of grabbing their attention. But when they start talking to you and they get to know you as a person, as well as this brilliant author, well, they're going to go straight out and buy your book.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. I mean, like when we always tell authors, you have to have a big social media presence. It's really hard to build an audience. I mean, to have like thousands of people who follow you. And so how is that going to happen? Especially if you have an author who's a bit of an introvert, and many authors are a bit of introverts, and then suddenly you tell them you have to have an audience of 10,000 followers. How are they going to do that?
It takes years to get that many followers. It doesn't happen overnight. And again, it's about communicating with these people and getting to know them and letting them into your life and letting them know you. You've got more chance of making a sale when you're face to face. So because you can't do face to face, you do it through Messenger, you do it through posts. To find subscribers, to find likes, to find followers, you need to promote yourself. You need to promote your book. And I don't mean it, like I said, buy my book posts. I mean, different ways of doing it. Get a review quote, because every author is going to rave about how amazing their books are. Yeah. But when you hear it from someone who's actually read it and reviewed it, then that quote from that review means more than anything an author could say about their book. Mm-hmm. You know, yeah. So having a brilliant graphic, because you've only got like 1 second to catch someone's eye, especially with Twitter. Yeah. And so having a graphic that really stands out, that catches their attention, they stop, they look at the post, and then they decide whether they're going to read it full or click on it or whatever. But you need to catch their attention first with an amazing graphic.
So what is like if you had one platform you want authors to be on? Like, I know now TikTok is huge to the degree that I go now like to bookshops like Barnes and Noble here in the US or Books A Million, and there are sections, a whole section called Book Talk, where they they just highlight the books that are trending on TikTok. So it basically went from social media to an actual
bookstore. That's how big it is. Yeah. That is the number one place where authors are selling their books.
TikTok.
It's TikTok. It's crazy. It's not about doing silly dances to music anymore. Okay. It's not about doing joke videos. It's not all about books, of course not. But we are taking over, most definitely.
Can you give me examples of how authors are using TikTok?
They can. Well, now you've got different. You've got like 15 seconds, 30 seconds, and then you've got up to 3 minutes now. I think, if I'm correct, I think it's 3 minutes. So you can do a pretty good reading, an excerpt reading of your book, a cliffhanger that's going to make them go, oh, what's going to happen next? I'm going to have to go out and buy it. You show the cover of your book. You turn it over. You show the blurb of your book.
Okay.
You maybe put a quote from the book on top of the cover, so they see the cover, but they also read a quote as well.
Okay.
You can have you talking over the top as the music, and then have the video of showing the book, or even showing your computer where you did the end at the end of a manuscript, and then you show the book in its book form. So it's like, this was what it was, and this is what it is now, you know. And then, of course, you leave the link for where they can buy it. So there's so many different things you can do with your books. Reading is one, just showing the cover is another, flicking through the pages even though you don't stop anywhere, that's a really popular one. But the most thing you need to remember about TikTok, the most important thing, is the hashtags. Just like Instagram, you have to use the right hashtags to make sure the people see your posts. People aren't going to see your posts if you don't use the right hashtags.
What's the top hashtags for authors?
Well, you've got authors of TikTok, books of TikTok, just like you have with Instagram. Yeah. You have bookish, you have books to read. And then, of course, you have your genre. So you put your genre in. You put, maybe you're showing off the cover, so you put book cover in. Yeah. Who you're marketing your book for, you know, young adults, someone who writes similar to you, name an author, you know, name a TV show that's similar or a film that's similar to your book. You know, there's so many ways of getting people to find this video that you've done by using the correct hashtags.
Yeah.
It's not, for me, TikTok's not about how many followers I have. It's how many views I have on my videos. That's what counts.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. It's interesting to see, because we, like, on Twitter is how many followers we have, but I think on TikTok is how many views each video gets. It's not the individual.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. So you're saying if an author comes to you and they tell you I only have a time for only one social media, you'll tell them TikTok, not Instagram anymore.
I sell most of my books on Facebook myself, personally.
How do you do that?
I go to pages that allow you to post on a certain day, because then the readers are there ready to see all the promos. They haven't been, the authors haven't been allowed to post anything all week, and so they're ready to post. And once you go to a page that's never heard of your book before, never heard of you as an author, it can be quite a good day on a page like that.
What are these pages?
Well, it depends on what you're writing, what your book's about. I mean, there's all different genres. You have the fantasy and sci-fi, you have the young adult, you have the erotica, you have the bad boys, bully romance, harem romance. They've all got their own groups now on Facebook. Horror, comedy, non-fiction, even non-fiction. So all you do is just type into the search box on Facebook what you're looking for, and all the groups and pages will come up. You join the groups. Of course, you make sure you read their rules before you post anything. And the pages, you can't join the page, but you follow a page.
Okay. And then the page, those groups, private groups, they give you certain dates to talk about your book. So let's say on Wednesday, if you're an author, you can promote your book.
Exactly. Most of them allow you to do it all the time.
Okay.
It's the group just for book promotion. But the problem there is most of the members on there are authors.
Okay.
Whereas a page, that's where you've got your readers.
So we're talking about a group and a page. Okay. All right. So there's two different things. That's interesting. Okay.
But I mean, that's me personally. But TikTok is the number one place for authors to sell their books.
Like Colleen Hoover, for example. Colleen Hoover, she's, of those who haven't heard of her, she writes romance. And I think before TikTok, she was not as known as she is now. She's went back to the New York Times bestseller because of TikTok. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but.
No, I mean, I knew her anyway before TikTok even started, BookTok started, we'll call it. So it's not TikTok anymore, it's BookTok.
Yeah. Wow, it's fascinating what's happening and how the whole marketing changed. Okay, so we talked about tips. I want to ask you about mistakes. What are the top mistakes that authors make while they're promoting their books, and why their books tank? They didn't do well. So what are the mistakes that they're doing and how they should avoid them?
Well, the first one, we've mentioned it 3 or 4 times already. Buy my book post, which is a graphic of the book cover, a link and the blurb. That is not going to get you a sale unless you're already a best-selling author and it's your new release, and then you'll get loads of sales. But as an independent author who's pushing their book to people for the first time, you don't do it like that.
So how would you do? I just published a book. I want my followers to buy my book. So I tell them, hey guys, my book is out, buy it. How would I say that?
You would hopefully have some reviews.
Okay.
And if not reviews from Amazon, but reviews from your ARC readers. Okay. That's advanced readers copy, for those that don't know. It's people you give the manuscript to take a look at the book and get ideas of what they think of the book before it's actually published, in case there's anything wrong with it, in case they find inconsistencies or plot holes that you've passed 1,000 times because you've read that manuscript 1,000 times. and you've gone over it and you never saw that. But when you have these different eyes looking at your manuscript, they find mistakes that you didn't find. So ARC readers are very, very important. And then when it comes to your book being released, they can go on to Amazon or Barnes & Noble or Goodreads and leave a review of what they thought about the book because they've read it. So if you can get a review quote from the ARC reader and then use that with your cover, and then like a nice big new release, and then a link to more than one place, not just Amazon, a link to everywhere it's sold. If you're going wide and you're not with KU, Kindle Unlimited, then you'd have probably Books to Read, which is Draft to Digital, which sells in all the places like Apple and Barnes & Noble and Kobo and other places. So you'd have a link for there and a link for Amazon if you use Amazon. Me, I'm not personally a good fan of Amazon, but that's another subject we can talk about another time. So a review quote is really good. A really exciting excerpt from, and I don't mean pages and pages, I mean even a small paragraph that's going to grab them and have to go, oh, I've got to read this book. And a hook. You need a hook. Every book needs a hook. We call it a tagline, but it needs a hook. It needs to drive that reader to want to go out and buy that book with just a few words.
Mm-hmm.
And a hook is telling them what, who the main character is, what genre they're getting, what the book's called, what the problem is, the conflict in the book with your main character, how they're going to overcome it, and leave them with a question mark sort of thing. So they need to find out what the answer is. So a hook is really good for promotion. Making sure you have an amazing cover, because if you're going to put your cover on that promotion, it's got to stand out. It's got to be different. Out of the box works much better than following the herd. So, and bright and colourful and unique book cover will make people stop and read the posts. So an excerpt, or a narration, a small reading yourself, a video of you reading a couple of pages from your new novel on video, put that up on as your promo post. So it doesn't have to be a buy my book one. It can be showing that you can write, showing that people enjoy your book, and giving them a taste of it by a small reading.
What other mistakes besides buy my book?
Mistakes. Okay, so we'll stay with Facebook for the moment. It's not reading the rules and posting anywhere you like and 10 times a day. Well, you're going to end up with what we call Facebook jail, which is where they don't allow you to post for up to 2 weeks sometimes, which is really bad for an author. But Facebook, they block you.
Okay.
Because you've been what they call spamming. You see, you've been posting the same post to 5 or 6 different groups that one day, and it's gone to the algorithm, has found it and accused you of spamming, and you get the notice that you've been blocked. But they don't tell you how long, so you just have to wait until they allow you to post again. And when you're using Facebook and you're actually making money from your books from Facebook, having a block for 2 weeks is not good. So try to avoid that by following the rule of 3 shares a day.
Okay.
And when you have got hundreds and hundreds of groups, the best way to keep an eye and make sure you don't post again is, I've used back of old business cards. You write down your groups. So you go through them. That one's been finished. The next day you'll go through another 3. And so you're not going to go to a group you've already been and posted on and get into trouble for spamming because your post is already on there. Keep an eye on the names. Keep some sort of record of all your groups. that you're with, and make sure you don't post more than at least once a week on them.
So you published a number of books, and you're like a prolific writer. So I'm just curious, do you think now more than ever writers can make a living from being full-time authors because of, now we have the Kindle Limited, we have the series, people binge on series, and independent publishing, of where you can get all the revenue instead of giving some commission to agents and stuff. Do you think it's more doable than ever now to be a full-time author and make a decent living?
No.
No?
It's very difficult to be a full-time author and not have another job.
Okay.
You speak to any independent self-published author, they have another job. They're not making a living out of their books. There are so many factors and so many reasons for this, but the publishing industry is changing yet again. The marketing way of marketing is changing soon, very soon, and you're going to see more people leaving Amazon and selling their books directly, leaving out the middleman and getting the money to their pocket, not giving any out, getting what's worth their book. They've put all those hours in, all those it costs a lot of money to publish a book. It's not cheap.
Yeah.
And so they need to get something back. So selling the book at 99 cents or giving it for free does nothing for an author.
Yeah.
But selling it directly, so that the money for this book goes in your pocket and not to a greedy corporation.
Okay.
Allows the reader to feel good that they're making sure that the author's getting paid for what they're worth.
Okay.
Maybe a bit of incentive by lowering the price a little bit to what it is online, just to get them to buy direct from you.
Okay.
You sell your book direct from your website. Okay. They pay through PayPal, any way you normally pay when they go to Amazon. And they get either a PDF, an EPUB, Mobi, whatever file format they want, they get. And then they can read it on any device.
But
and so you don't need Amazon.
But that's for ebooks, but there's still many people who don't need ebooks. Even with all the technology and the iPhones, people still prefer hard copies. So talking about publishers selling directly, you need a place to print on demand. So that's why people go to Amazon, because print on demand. So
well, there's loads of places. I mean, Lulu is print on demand. Book Baby's print on demand. There's so many places that are print on demand. If the author is making enough money from their ebooks and wants to sell their paperbacks directly, then they just ship 30, 40 copies to themselves, sign them, and when someone orders them, ship them out. And of course, the buyer pays for the shipping. It's no different from what Amazon would charge for shipping the book. And they can get it cheaper as well and direct from the author. But it's whether the author has the money to buy 30 copies in one go. It's not cheap to do that. But if you've got the readers out there waiting for a paperback copy and want to buy directly from you, then I say go for it, most definitely. And then you've got Ingram Sparks, who, if you are very clever, can actually get your books into, I think, 2,000 different bookshops, actual bookstores, because it's through Ingram Sparks.
Can you tell the listeners what Ingram Sparks is, so that they'll have a better idea?
Okay, well, Ingram Sparks it works just like any other print on demand. An author or a publisher, mainly a publisher with an imprint or someone with an imprint, will go on there, upload their book. It will be, the paperback will be sold on Amazon, but Amazon can't touch your book. It's used as a bookshelf only. So people can buy your paperback from Amazon.
Okay.
But it's Ingram Sparks that is paying you.
Ah,
Okay.
I see. Okay.
So they can't take away reviews. They can't take away, they can't put down your book in price without telling you, like they do now.
Okay.
They can't touch your book because Ingram Sparks is the one who published it, but you're using Amazon as a bookshelf. Barnes and Nobles, what other ones? What the big ones in Target and
Costco?
the other one,
Costco in the US, Costco.
I can't remember the names now. There's another big place like Target that's Walmart, Target, online. They both will sell the book. And to get it into the actual stores, which would be amazing, you can do that, but you need to sell lots of books for them to notice that if they bought the book for the stores, they'll have some sales and not refunds and have to throw them and give them back or anything. So Ingram Sparks gives the author a chance to actually be in 2,000, 10,000 different stores if they want to do it that way with their paperback. And if not, it's in places like Waterstones online, Barnes and Noble online, Amazon, as you know, Walmart and Target online. You can still buy the paperback. So, but you can get it in the stores if you wanted to. But that costs money and it takes a lot of effort. And again, if the author is so popular selling their books, then that's definitely the way to go, is to get it into as many stores as you can after.
But that's for independent authors, not all authors publish traditionally, correct?
Independent authors that buy their own imprint, so they become their own publisher.
Ah. What about authors who do not buy their own imprint?
Then they wouldn't be able to go with Ingram Sparks. They would be.
How do you buy your own imprint?
I'm not sure how it happens. I had mine through another publisher. So basically she said, I'll tell me the name of your publishing imprint and I'll add it to my publishing account and you can use that. I was like, oh, okay then. So that's what I did. I had a new imprint called Dirty Streets Press.
Okay.
I took my books off of Amazon, my ebooks, sold them directly from my website. My paperbacks are through Ingram Sparks. So they're on Amazon, the paperbacks. What happened is when I bought out the last two books of mine, which are Broken Chains and Road Rage, these are the only two that I'm selling directly because these are the only two so far in the Dirty Streets Press imprint.
Okay.
There we go.
I see it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. The logo. There we go.
Yeah.
And so there's more coming. Slowly, there's more coming. But what happened was, and I was just so blown away by it, when I promoted and told them about the new release, the readers went directly to Amazon to get the book. Well, the ebook wasn't there. So what did they do? They bought the paperback. I've never sold so many paperbacks in my life when these two were released.
Ah, okay.
And then those that got in touch with me and said, can I get a copy for my Kindle? I said, yeah, you can buy it directly off me. The file you get direct from me is for your Kindle.
Ah, I see. So, okay. So this
is going to happen. I just wanted to tell people and let the authors know that who are watching, the readers know who are watching. This is going to change the industry and it's happening now. More and more authors are selling direct because it's giving them the money they deserve for all the money they've paid to get the books. You don't need the middleman anymore.
Yeah, that's fascinating. So what are the genres now that are trending? Because, I've seen the market, people, like sometimes it was young adult, it was, romance. What is now the genre that is people are really into?
I mean, fantasy is still going to be up there at the top always. Paranormal fantasy. People love the werewolves, the alphas, the vampires, and now you've got the first ever werewolf series or film coming out about alphas, which was, from what I remember, a Wattpad book that then got turned into a film, a major film. I can't remember what it's called, but it's many books in a series. So this will be the first ever sort of werewolf alpha type film ever done. So that's really exciting. So that's always going to be at the top. But I was really shocked at how many women love to read about sex and violence.
Erotic.
We're not talking when it was like with 50 Shades and everyone started being a writer of erotica. 50 Shades got famous because it was so badly written, by the way, for those that don't know.
Yeah.
That gives some authors hope.
I didn't finish it. I started.
You didn't? Yeah.
No,
If you've ever read the book, you'll see why.
Okay.
So it got so much publicity, bad publicity, that it became a #1 bestseller. And it just goes to show, doesn't it? But anyway, so because of that, and another one, I can't remember the name of the other author. There was 2 authors. There was her that did the 50 Shades, and then there was another author that did Cross something. Forgot the name. Anyway, those 2 became #1 bestsellers, and everyone then wanted to write erotica, and everyone suddenly became an author of erotica. Yeah. Well, Amazon doesn't have anything to do with that. You try and put a book up with the label erotica, you'll be down the list. They won't sell it. They won't advertise it. They don't want it.
Okay, because of conservative views.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, exactly. So what's happening is that all those authors that are writing erotica, to get their book into the Amazon charts, to be able to advertise their book through Amazon, they're labeling it as contemporary romance. The problem is all these writers that write contemporary romance are now getting books, bought by people thinking that they're going to buy erotica. Or those thinking they're going to get a contemporary romance find out that it's actually got erotica inside. But that's what's happening at the moment. But anyway, I was really surprised at the amount of sales I had for my books, the amount of interest there was for my books, the amount of groups that are on Facebook to do with mafias and motorcycle clubs, and the sex and the violence mixed together. Women love that, and I think that is probably one of the highest genres at the moment for books.
But like violent sex, is that what they're looking for, or they're looking for?
I mean, we're talking about rape, we're talking about non-consensual sex, we're talking about abuse, torture.
And why are they interested in,
I don't know. I don't know. They get turned on by it. They get turned on by it. Yeah, I mean, there's something about that genre that women are just flocking to. When I wrote my book, I knew how graphic and explicit it was going to be. Okay. I warned my readers before I got it out there. And from the cover, you can see, from the blurb, you can tell. I don't need to put trigger warnings like some authors do. I don't agree with those myself. Okay. So from the blurb and the cover, you can tell what the book's going to be about. I was so adamant that people needed to know what it was about before they opened the book. I didn't want reviews saying, oh my God, this was so-and-so and I couldn't read it and I put it down and it's disgusting and it made me feel sick and blah, blah, blah. But I didn't. 5 stars, 4 stars, through the board. Okay. Every one of them absolutely loved the book. Intense, wow, gripping. And I'm like, Oh, seriously, it shocked me.
What about the legality of this? I mean, are there some places where they would ban them because they would think there's, some practices that are
No, dark romance. If there's so many authors writing dark romance and there's so many readers buying dark romance, it would be really stupid for a publisher or a bookstore to say no, we're not having that. But Amazon, like I said, Amazon won't allow. They allow you to publish the book knowing it's erotica or it's bad dark romance and it's got abuse in it and non-consensual sex and what have you. They allow Amazon will publish that, but when it comes to advertising, you've got to be careful what's on your cover. You've got to be careful with your copy ad, what you write in your copy ad. You've got to be careful what's on your blurb. First, certain words will kick the red light going off, and no, I'm sorry, we're not having this. You've got to remember, okay, there are best-selling authors like Stephen King, Dean Koontz, other female authors. What's her name? Who did the Mortal Instruments? Cassandra Clare. These are mature books. These have, especially Stephen King and stuff like that, they have the non-consensual sex, they have the murders, they have the abuse, and no one bats an eyelid. But when an independent author tries to publish the book, then it's trigger warning. Have you ever seen a trigger warning on a Stephen King book?
No, because it's Stephen King. But
bingo.
But like, I've seen a lot, especially now with the younger generation. There's a lot, like, I feel that people, especially the younger generation, they're raised to be, many of them get offended easily than, older generation. And there's you would see people are offended by this and on voices, and you cannot write this if you're not, like, you cannot write an LGBTQ if you're not from the LGBTQ. You cannot write about a person of color if you're not a person of color. You cannot write a woman if you're a man. And it's,
that's always going to happen. That's always going to be the same. That's not going to change. There's always going to be those people like that out there. But then you've got those others.
But with social media, they're becoming very powerful, and they're pressuring publishers to drop the authors, which we've seen many times in the publishing industry. So where do you think that trend is going? That's why people are going to publish themselves, so they don't have to deal with that? Or
of course. I mean, when Kindle came out, this was like, bye publishers, we don't need you anymore. Anybody can publish a book. Even if they can't write, they could publish a book at the time. It's different now, but that's how it first started. And so now it's changing again, and we're saying bye-bye Amazon, bye-bye Barnes & Noble, bye-bye all of you online bookstores. We're going to sell our own book from now on. So it's changing again, and doing that, we're promoting our book the way we want to promote it. We're writing the books that we want to write, and nobody can stop us.
Fascinating. So you think that the cancel culture that's coming after authors, I mean, they even came after Dr. Seuss. The cancel, and J.K. Rowling and many of them. Do you think the cancel culture is not here to stay? That authors are just gonna ignore it, or
Well, there's nothing we can do about it, so we're going to have to ignore it.
Okay.
It's just one of those things that happen in the industry, and once it goes away, something else will come up and be trying to blast and get on social media, and people make a big fuss of it, and people blow things out of proportion because of social media.
So if you want to, so you're based in Europe, so if you want to compare the publishing industry between the US and Europe, and do you think like US publishers tend to pick titles different than the European market, and why? And how different is the European publishing market from the US publishing market, especially when it comes to the titles that they pick and the topics that they pick?
Well, This I can't answer because I sell to, and all my clients sell to the US and the UK mainly.
Okay.
However, I've just got a translator for French, Russian, Italian, French, Russian, Italian for Broken Chains, which is my dark mafia romance,
Okay.
the one that I was telling you about. So that's been translated into all those languages. It's already been translated into Greek, so it's actually available in Greece. I need to find the marketplace now. I need to find where people are looking for Greek books, to sell it. But that's a totally different ball game to a normal English book. When you have a translation and you have to find a new marketplace for your book, all your promos need to be done in that language. It's a whole different and very time-consuming project to do. But because of Broken Chains has the MI5, it has the Russian mafia, the Greek mafia, and the Italian mafia. It had to be translated into Italian, Russian, and Greek. So that was really important for me that I got that translated into those languages. But it's once the books are out, it's then, like I said, finding the marketplace. But as for sales, I would imagine if someone is willing to translate the book, then that country would read that kind of genre.
Mm-hmm.
Because
go ahead. Yeah.
With the translation, it's like with ACX, they're getting 50-50 royalties. They're not getting paid from me. I haven't got the money to pay for a translator.
Yeah.
So they only get paid when I make a sale. Now, why should they spend hours and hours translating a book if they know that it's not going to make any sales? They must already know that people in their country is going to like this genre.
So, how many hours do you write a day?
Well, because of Author Assist, I work 5 days a week, 10 hours a day with Author Assist.
Okay.
I have the weekends for my writing, but that includes promoting my books as well as editing, writing, reading, everything else that needs to be done. And that's only on a Saturday and a Sunday.
So how many words a day do you write? I'm just kidding.
I don't give myself a word count. I write when I can write. I won't force myself to write because I know when I look at it later on, it's just going to be a load of rubbish. I need to be in what we call the zone. Okay. That's when we're in our little bubble, and nothing can get into the bubble, and you have nothing to do with anything outside the bubble. You're just in your bubble, you listen to the characters talking, you got that scene in your head, and you write, and your fingers don't stop. And when you're in the zone, you're writing gold.
Oh, wow.
So it's an amazing place to be for authors when they get in the zone, because that's just when you just flow. The writing just flows out of you. And so I won't sit down and force myself to write unless I'm ready to go into the zone and ready for the gold.
So any final thoughts or tips you would give to authors, since we've been chatting for almost an hour? I mean, I can chat with you for 5 hours. You have a lot of knowledge, and
we haven't hardly got to anything yet, have we? No, I haven't done all the other bits yet. Always listen to your peers, okay? If you're in a Facebook group that does critiques, and you've put your work up or your first page up for critique, you do need thick skin. But listen to your peers, because they've been doing it for so long, they know what they're talking about. And if you get 2 or 3 reviews saying the same thing, listen to what that reviews are saying, because that means there's a problem with the book. Okay, always keep your ears and your eyes open for things like that. It will give you an idea of how your writing is. With your first book, write about what you know, okay? Because when you do that, it's first of all less research, so it's a lazy way of doing it. But no, because when you write about what you know, because you've experienced what you're writing about, the passion comes out. You know, you can get all of what happened to you on that page. Yeah. And it allows the reader to be in that scene with you and go through what you went through. So always write about what you know for your first novel, and make sure it is totally polished, good cover, edited correctly and formatted. And I don't mean give it to your neighbor who's a teacher. Give it to a real editor. And once it's ready and you want to publish it yourself, then I wish you all the best. And if you need any help with the marketing and promotion of your book, once you've got it in your hand and you are jumping up and down with joy, and then you think, right, what's next? What do I do next? Come and see me.